Well, speaking of love and all that love, we have to talk about the BENNIFER wedding that happened 20 years later. I'm so happy for them. Like, I genuinely I love it. I mean, people are still shitting all over it, but I really like it. I mean, I think it's just amazing that they were able to come back together, despite everything that they went through with other people and within themselves and all of that, and just kind of figure it out. It's just when you look back at those old 2003 interviews, you can see how much they were in love with each other. And I think just, fame and the world and all of that kind of got in the way. And maybe they got in their own way. I don't know. I like it. What is that? Ronnie, what is all that about?
What's that about?
I gotta take to my smoothie and
What is that? What is that? Come on.
Well, it's okay. First and foremost, you should know, Kellie, because we do a show all the time. And I think anyone who listens to me, I'm much more of a Mark Anthony endgame type of guy. Mark Anthony being the GOAT. Mark Anthony.
You guys know how I feel about that. Hell to the no.
No, Kellie, you must have fell and bumped your head again, because Mark Anthony, he will drive a certain energy inside of you that's like,
no.
It's like, the sex appeal with Mark Anthony. Oh,
no.
Love it.
And again, Ronnie doesn't like Elf, so who listens to him?
I don't like the movie Elf. I do not like it. It's not funny. There's no humor. I feel bad for the time that James Caan and Mary Steenburgen had to be on the set because it was not funny. Anyways, I stick to what I believe.
You serious? Like,
he's dead serious.
Oh my god,
he's dead serious. Oh, that was a whole other thing. That was a whole other other podcast.
Dinklage, call me Elf one more time. And he attacked. Oh my god.
Well, you're saying everything else is funny. Sure, everyone else is funny.
Yeah.
I had said, we made this sentence a bit ago. We were talking about so-and-so must have a lot of yes people around them. Is like nobody directing Will Ferrell. Like, it was not a funny performance. It was no good. Somebody needed to get in there and say, "Ooh, you can't rest on your laurels because this is not funny, buddy." Oh, buddy's his name.
Well, you're just a cotton-headed ninny muggins. So go on.
See, nothing. Nothing.
Anyways. Son of a nutcracker, Ronnie. Son of a nutcracker.
Y'all know it's not funny. You could have it if it makes you feel warm and fuzzy. Oh, Christmas spirit, holiday spirit. But it is not funny.
He's all about Mark Anthony. No.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Off Elf. Get back to Mark Anthony. So the J-Lo Ben Affleck thing, I do like them. They are great together. But you should just know that I'm much more endgame. Always going to be Mark Anthony. I like the Ben Affleck thing. If it comes to a situation, as a huge J-Lo fan that I am, but you always got to squint a little bit and say, is this more of a great opportunity, where she utilizes, the press that comes along with it? Again, J-Lo fan, so I'm not hating. But it was like, oh, the movie Marry Me was coming out. That would have been a great branding opportunity to have Ben by your side. People love the nostalgia. I don't know how many stupid, moronic memes that were on Instagram, oh, this makes me feel like it's 2004. Grow up. It's not 2004. Grow up. That's number one. Now, if you are sorry, Dorinda, go ahead, Dorinda.
I mean, we also know they should never do a movie together, right? Again, right. We don't need to relive that 2005 experience. We don't need to do that.
And they're not gonna do that, are they gonna do that?
Because you said the Marry Me thing, it would have been a great branding thing. And I was like, they don't ever need to do another movie. Geely was awful.
In terms of
that, though, she could have been marrying anybody and it would have been a good branding. Getting back together with him wasn't necessarily a good career choice if you're thinking about it in that aspect, considering his addiction issues, his whole divorce bullshit, and just kind of his personal drama that was going on within himself. I mean, I don't really think that that would have been people saying, oh, look, here's a good look, because they were probably like, fuck, are you serious? Now we got to figure out how to clean up that shit show. As a publicist, I would have been like, really? Let me figure out how we're going to put that in the world. Hold on.
Well, and then I'm with you. I didn't really love it. I mean, I'm a J-Lo fan, but I didn't love it as the choice. I was like, oh, first of all, his back tattoo. I just, what's to love?
But I'm saying from a business perspective, if you're thinking that way, I would have been like, no. But from a love perspective, I'm all for it, because it's you think about who you were 20 years ago versus who you are now. And to be able to grow and evolve and think about your life and, who you want in it, I think that says a lot about their feelings for one another.
time out, because we have learned there's two different kinds of people. Kellie, who loves to revisit everything, Dorinda. She wants to revisit. She goes through old letters. She wants to like be back in her memories of her adolescence. And she wants to call ex-boyfriends to say, what did I do? Where did I play a part in the breakup? Like Kellie wants to still be there.
Brave.
Me, I don't want any of it. I want to go. I want 2004 to be a great memory. I'm very nostalgic. I won't say that I'm not, but I want to go. So we're in two different mindsets on that.
But I want to grow and evolve and actually figure out how to be the best version of myself that I can be, because when you go back and look at things, you realize that you were looking at a situation while you were in it from such a different perspective. When you can step out of it and go back and be like, fuck, maybe that was my fault. Maybe I wasn't as innocent in that situation as I thought I was. Or maybe I took too much of that blame and I shouldn't have. There's so many ways you can go back and look at it that helps kind of like cultivate the person that you're going to ultimately be by the time your time is done. At least that's the way I see it.
Aren't we glad we have a mature Kellie and me who's like, phooey, let's get through it.
We need to bring that word back, by the way. Phooey.
Yes. Oh, phooey.
I want no parts.
But I like that that's the way it seems, is that they were able to kind of go through their shit and then figure out that they still really loved each other. And I love that.
At the end of the day, yes. At the end of the day, I love too. And if they do love each other and it is what works for her, then that's great. But it is the convenience of her new album. You know, one of the first things I thought of is not just that whole like 2004 stupid meme thing. Oh, great, it's 2004. I more thought of like, oh, well, real J-Lo fans loved the era of This Was Me Then, the album. So now all of a sudden she has a new album coming out, another Dear Ben type, like another version of it. So, it is the convenience. I wouldn't say it's convenience. It's what's going on in her current life. And she's just utilizing that as her art. But again, I'm with it because I love Jenny Lowe. I like, she's my queen. Outside of Janet and Diana. Well, I guess I got a lot of queens, but I love Jenny. And if this makes her happy, then yes. And the other thing that I argue about usually is when people say, she's got to find herself. She's always just like jumping into a relationship. On one hand, you should probably take some time to be single before you jump into the next relationship. But on the other, how many times, and Dorinda could even attest to this when she's like uplifting me, like, Ronnie, get out there, go swipe right, swipe left, like, take a chance at love. I feel like we get so comfortable being in our insecurities or whatever the case that we don't really try. If you want to be a great basketball player, you got to go practice every day. Yeah. You want to be in love, you got to practice every day. You think that's going to just jump in your lap? And so my point on this whole thing is that with J-Lo, she doesn't sit and sulk and say, wow, another one, much like we saw in that movie, Marry Me, Kellie, where the character Kat felt really sad. It
was so brave of her to play that character that talked so much about what was so close to her real life. And I think that's why it hit me in a different way than just watching a regular movie, because I felt like that character was just kind of parallel to her. And I really thought that was such a brave thing to do for her, just to kind of step into it, because it's like when she's watching all the talk shows make fun of her and she's crying to her manager in the movie and she's like, what's wrong with me, basically. And it's just, you got to think like at all the points in her life, she really did that. And it just kind of like broke my heart about it. But I love that she was still like, you know what? I still want to be in love. I still want to do these things. And you know what? Screw the world and they can think what they want. This is what I want for myself. And I'm glad that she does that, because she's a badass in so many other ways. I mean, think what you want about, whether like her quality of talent or if you think she's a good thing, whatever. She's a fantastic performer and no one can deny that. And if you do, you're just a fucking hater, and that's just all there is to it.
Well, first of all, I love the song Still by J-Lo too. And that's the key. And that's what I get in little, not arguments, but like conversations with, when people will always say, oh, she's got to, be alone for a little. I'm saying she lives a much different life than the rest of us. Her situation and her scenario moves much faster than the normal 9-to-5er. I give her a lot of credit for saying, even if I'm going to mess up in it and I'm going to step in it and it's not the right choice, I'm going to try love again and again. Again, my point of view, and I would love your Dorinda.
I'm not brave enough to do that. Like I'm not brave enough to do that. So I definitely give her props for it, for sure.
We do that as people within our friend groups too. We see somebody and they're back with such and such, and we're so judgmental, but then it's like, it's safe to be single. It's safe to do the comfortable things, and J-Lo doesn't do the comfortable things. So that's what I like about it. I just make the joke that Mark Anthony, I feel like J-Lo's like what really makes her happy is Mark. So I hope that one day that could be Endgame. But for now, I'm going to take the bad tattoo Boston guy, Ben Affleck. And if it makes J-Lo happy, it makes me happy. That's all I got. Dorinda, what do you think?
Well, I always thought it was Ben. I never once I think that her and Mark Anthony had a good thing. Yeah, they had a good thing, but I always thought it was Ben. Always. I never once ever. I thought every relationship she got in after Ben was trying to be able to replace the love she had for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not surprised that they got back together. I'm not surprised they got married twice, right? They did 2 marriages.
Yeah.
But I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I loved her Vegas dress. I loved her Vegas dress better than her dress on the in the house in South Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like the Vegas wedding better because they just looked so happy.
Yeah,
like it was the epitome of happiness for her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always thought that they would be in game in a way because I always thought she was chasing what she had with him.
That's what I'm saying. When you look at those old interviews, like you can tell just how in love she was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it just was so sad that I think like her success ruined it. And it's kind of one of those things that I think a lot of women kind of, and I don't know, you can tell me, Dorinda, if you think I'm like way off here, but I think a lot of busy, successful women in whatever industry that they're in, they kind of get not really in trouble, but they get punished for being successful sometimes in relationships because guys can't handle it or they don't want to. They want you there when they want you there. And when you're too busy and can't be there, then, they move on to someone that can be. And it's I feel like that's kind of what happened to them in the beginning and that first time around, because she just blew up into this massive, massive star. And that's when paparazzi was really kind of getting into full swing, and it was just too much.
I think a lot to what you're saying of why Ben would be a good choice. Because again, I'm not saying Ben's a bad choice. I was just making sure, for the J-Lo lovers out there who also think what I think with Mark. What made Ben maybe the right choice is what Dorinda just said, that he was always the one that she wanted to, find something similar. So every relationship going forward was a version of Ben. Like she was trying to find that. And then to it not being even about Ben, because there's nothing wrong with him per se. The one good thing about Ben, I'm thinking if I'm J-Lo, is that might have been the last time my life was a bit normal, after that time in her life, she became the superstar. Superstar's never going to live the life that the rest of us live. So it might have been, imagine you're a celebrity and your life goes to all of these different places and they're hard. You love it, tons of money, but it's hard to live that life. Ben was comfort, I think. I think that's why she did it. So again, if she's happy, I'm happy. But if she ever says, you know what, hey, public, it's back to Mark, I will tell you two, told you so.
No.
These girls ain't feeling it. No. Okay. All right.
No.
I would like to think this is it for her.
I hope it is.
I feel like it is, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. I know, and I might eat my words in another year or two, but I do feel like she's been searching for her home, and I feel like this is her home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Familial. Anyone have any last picks or questions, comments rather, on J-Lo Ben, or can we go to the next thing?
We can go to the next thing.
Okay. J-Lo still queen. Kiss my ass if you don't like my comments. But really,
I don't know how much of a queen she's going to be after that tribute, though.
Okay, before you go, let's do something real quick. We just wanted, see, this is a very fair podcast. We will give you love, but we'll also tear you down. No, I'm joking. Real quick, Kellie, if you could hook this up for us. I just want to let you know that it's exciting. Dorinda's our day one in terms of guest. She's been our 3-time guest, but we also have a day one in terms of sponsor. So take it away, Kellie. Just let us know. Veridian Row never has that creativity that goes out of style.
That's right. Veridian Row is such a cute small business. They have a lot of fun graphic t-shirts and new vintage and resale stuff. They also have like handmade tiles and different art and all that. It's such a really fun, creative space. And the movie quote shirts, I think, are my favorites.